We are here with Debbi Guthrie, President of the Riverside Sports Commission. I guess my first question is, how do you sell Riverside when you're competing for an event, bringing an event to town like the synchronized swimming stuff, or some of the fireball run, or some of the other stuff that you're doing? What's your spiel? What's your selling point?
My spiel is really that I have this fondness for this community that I was raised in, and really want other people to experience the same kind of feeling that I get every time I walk down Main Street or see the aquatics complex or that. And so when I go out to sell Riverside, I sell it as a total experience, not just as they're bringing their sports event here or their events here. It's more the total experience, the fact that they can come here, have a single point of contact, have someone that helps them through the processes, whether it's for permits or whether they need special access to facilities, help with special pricing, and that. So we sell ourselves as a one-stop shop to help make their event wonderful and special, and invite them to come into our community that is guaranteed to embrace them and make them feel like they're at home.
Now you're limited in a sense. I mean, the pool has been a wonderful addition to this community, and you've been able to draw a lot of water sports events there. Still don't have an arena.
Right.
Still don't have a decent-sized stadium.
Right.
What, if those things materialized somehow, what would be the horizons then for Riverside and for this area in terms of bringing in events? I mean, think of the event, think of the Holy Grail that you might be able to bring in here if you had those facilities. Can you think of one or two?
Well, obviously, the first thing that comes to my mind is AYSO Soccer National Championships. Those are coming here next summer, and we have facilities that'll, be able to accommodate them, and they'll have a very nice event.
But if you had a stadium?
If we had a stadium, the finals would be in the stadium. If we had an outdoor stadium, we would also be able to host events like Quidditch. And we had an opportunity last year. In fact, we were in the final two competing for the World Cup, and lost it to Kissimmee, Florida, because they had a stadium and these facilities that were more in keeping with what they had in mind. Additionally, rugby tournaments, other sports that really we could showcase our facilities much better and accommodate the audience, the spectators that would like to go and see these types of activities that are an opportunity for us.
Now, how much coordination is there? I mean, you are coordinating with Cal Baptist and with the Riverside Unified School District with the various synchronized swimming things that are going on. I mean, you've talked to UCR's people. You're sort of a one-person clearinghouse, and there's all these satellites that you're all trying to coordinate. How does that work, and is it sometimes a little frustrating to get everybody on the same page?
We have the spirit of collaboration in town, and I don't know whether it's because I've been here since dirt or what, but
that's a polite way of putting it, right?
It does make it very easy to pick up the phone and call people that we've had these relationships built with over the years, and that's how it worked. With synchronized swimming, it all started with Sue Nesbitt, coach of the Riverside Aquettes, coming to us saying, "Hey, look, eSynchro is looking to come to town. How about you hop on a plane with me and we go to Florida and we put in our bid for this?" Rusty Bailey came with us, and we sold Riverside, did a little video presentation, sold Riverside. Were able to secure that event. And what that did was that kind of opened the door for us for this whole USA Developmental National Training Center coming to Riverside for synchronized swimming. Once we found out that there was an RFP out to bring the national team here.
That's a request for proposal.
Right. We reached out to everybody that we thought would make a perfect package, one that no other city could compete with. And so, that's where CBU and the beautiful campus, the housing opportunities, the fact that, they have the new recreation center, everything just kind of fit in there, so that would be a great environment for these young women to live in and while they were training here. So that component came in, and then it was a natural to bring in the sport clinic as a potential partner, and just because of their background in sports physical therapy and that whole aspect, they were very willing. We needed an alternate pool because Riverside Aquatics Complex is quite impacted by all the wonderful events
popular.
we're bringing. And so we looked at that schedule very closely and then reached out to Riverside Unified School District and to Park and Rec, City Park and Rec, for some alternate pools to use during that time. So you're absolutely right. It was a real collaboration. And frustration, actually everything went really smoothly, and it's just because of the relationships, I think.
You were a synchronized swimmer.
I was.
Talk about that. Talk about that experience. You swam with the Aquettes when you were young.
Uh-huh.
Talk about what that did for you then, and how that sort of impacted your life going forward.
Okay.
What you learned out of that.
It was a great time in my life to be involved in a sport that had the component of grace and charm and teamwork and athleticism in it. And it was right during the time when I was a teenager. And in the 1960s, it was we were practicing at the Riverside YWCA, which is now the Art Museum. And it just was a wonderful environment for me, and a growth environment. It really taught me a lot about leadership and participation and commitment, and I think those lessons have really carried into my life. And it was because it was such a special part of my life that I realized Riverside really needed to recognize the value of that sport and the history of the Riverside Aquettes here. And it was one of the reasons that I really pushed to get a nice aquatics complex here. So.
Now, how much time do you spend on sports commission business? I mean, is that now your day job, or is that something that you kind of have to carve time out to do?
It's about 50% of my time. So as director of the Sports Commission and then as senior vice president of Raincross Hospitality Corp., I have my fingers in a few things.
And again, there's the collaboration aspect, and one helps the other, obviously.
Right.
You're filling hotel rooms and whatnot.
And under the umbrella of Raincross Hospitality Corporation is the Riverside Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that's really where the Sports Commission ties in. And the mission of the CVB is to bring visitors from outside the community to enjoy our community, to stay in our hotels, to generate economic vitality here. And so it was just a natural fit. I have one person on staff who has been in sports sales for years with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she assists me, so that makes it so that I have the capability to do these other things as well.
And you're looking for more staff.
Oh, I
right?
would love to have help. I would love to have help.
Put you on the spot there.
I would love to have help, although I did just bring on someone part-time that's a graduate student at Cal Baptist University with an emphasis on sports marketing that's going to be assisting me, so that's great.
How big can this get?
Oh, if we had a stadium or two.
Or two.
Or two.
Okay.
Well, we have to have indoor and outdoor,
No,
right?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
It could get very large. San Diego Sports Commission at one point in time had a staff of 60. But we want to take this easy and do what's necessary to really meet the needs of Riverside. And right now, we have some wonderful facilities. Our parks are look better now than they ever have before, and the facilities there we're making more and more use of those. But, we are limited. We are limited. Until we expand to some other facilities, we're going to be limited, and because of that, we won't need, a lot of extra staff.
Whose brainchild was the Sports Commission? Did you go to somebody and say, hey, we should do this, or did somebody come to you and say, we're going to do this, we'd like you to run it?
We talked about it within our organization, and it was really a result of the fact that the aquatics complex opened, and it just kicked off with a bang. As soon as we started hosting events, we realized that that visibility that we were having was spreading the word across the country, and we were getting more and more interest from sanctioning bodies to host national events here. So because of that, and I was doing it as a volunteer at that point, it just made sense to appeal to the city to consider funding a sports commission through the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
This has become an event town.
Yes.
It's not a spectator town. I mean, Riverside has a very spotty history when it comes to supporting UCR, minor league baseball. People who live here don't go to events. How do you change that?
I really would like to see that change. The perfect
But how do you do
it? I think you just pound it home. You make sure that people know what's coming to town and how accessible things are. And I think the perfect example is eSynchro right now. It's the largest synchronized swimming competition in the world. And we have 1,100 synchronized swimmers over there at the aquatics complex and seating for 1,500. And the stands are not always full, which you would think they would be. So this weekend with finals, we'll see. We've done a lot of marketing. We are using the city's freeway digital signs. We're using the City Outlook magazine, and I think we just need to keep following that process and educating people so they know what's going on. And I'm on a mission.
Is there a sort of outreach you can do? I mean, you've got a limited staff, so you can't be making cold calls and saying, hey, come see our product. Mm-hmm. But it seems like that would be the thing that you'd need to do in order to get the public to pay attention.
And we do our fair share of appearances at service clubs, at downtown partnership meetings, through the Chamber of Commerce, through the mixers and that, and try and get our calendar out, and especially when something really exciting comes up, to talk about it at Good Morning Riverside or those kinds of activities. But and I think the experience that we had with Splash was a great example of how it can work if you use your networks. And we were able to fill those stands, for every one of those shows for that 2.5 month or 2 month period. So
you mean the show that nobody watched? So the fact that they didn't mention Riverside on the telecast. No big
come on, Jim. We had credit at the end
in the fine print, but by then everybody had tuned out. But you told me that got the attention of people who are interested in filming commercials.
It did.
So that could be a pretty lucrative side business. I know that out at Auto Club Speedway, they do a lot of commercial work. From the sound of it, that's the sort of thing that could happen at the RCC pool as well.
I think it opened the door for a lot more than just the RCC pool. I really do. They had done a United Airlines commercial there, and prior to the Splash folks coming to just do the promo there, and our contacts for the Splash deal were through ABC, and they came out here, and for many of them, they got off the freeway and they said, this is the first time we've ever been off the freeway in Riverside, and they were duly impressed. And as a result of that, several of the Senior execs at ABC are now aware of Riverside, have stayed at the Mission Inn, realize what a wonderful property that is, have seen our downtown, and have spent time here. And so now they feel a lot more comfortable with the surroundings and the process, because they realize that we're a very film-friendly town. And it was for that reason that they came back to us and wanted to do the whole season here. What has happened since then is just last week I don't know if I should mention the shows, but I had a call from a very high-profile Discovery Channel show, and also that wanted to use the aquatics complex, but another that was looking for, guess what, a football stadium.
Good luck with that.
And actually, they would have come here in a heartbeat, but they needed one with turf, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot of turf fields anymore.
They could use RCC. There's just not a lot of stands.
Well, and
Not a lot of
it's
seats.
the artificial turf now, but they needed one with grass,
Oh, natural
traditional
grass.
grass.
Okay.
And so those are hard to find now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for a commercial, and then I received another call from a local affiliate of one of the major networks. So I think, just getting our foot in the door there has really kind of opened some eyes.
And you might have blundered into something, sort of, because ESPN and ABC are part of the same family.
Right.
ESPN controls a certain amount of events, or at least has a say in them. So from the standpoint of bringing things into town, you might have lucked. I don't. Blundered is probably not the right term. You might have lucked into something.
Out. Well, and the California-Arizona High School All-Star football game that was here last year, they were broadcast on Fox Sports, and we've had CIF swimming and diving finals, Southern Section swimming and diving finals. Both were sponsored by Ford. Both were live broadcast by sports. Or by Fox Sports. And so, there's those things all feed off of themselves. And when you start getting into that world, it's a very small world. So hopeful it'll bring a lot more activity here.
Well, Debbie, thank you for your time, and good luck.
You're very
the rest of the
welcome.
way.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.